What's up, Blizzard Nation? Welcome back to Strictly Blizzness, episode 97.
3 away from the 100th episode.
Indeed.
Indeedly do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Had a game this weekend. Well, we probably should thank some people first.
Yeah.
As he looks at me like, what are you doing, dummy? Thanks to Creative Edge and Edge VR Arcade and
Werner Electric.
for making Strictly Blizzness possible.
Correct.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay.
Maybe 101 episodes I'll lead with that and get it right. So
No, you do a pretty good job.
I try.
Yeah, you do a pretty good job.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Game, huh?
We had a game.
Yeah. There's a bunch of games this weekend.
There were a lot of games this weekend. Great games this weekend. Again, a couple of blowouts. And then, like we've been telling everybody, down to the last play or second of the game, which is what ours came down to. You want to break ours down first?
I saw some of it, so I'll lean on you.
You were a little busy. You were a little busy. So for those of you that haven't watched our game, I would say you should go back and watch it because it's probably one of the most exciting games that we have played at home. Other than the Sioux Falls game, which obviously had a different outcome last season, this was one of the most exciting games that I've been able to sit and participate. I sat through most of pretty much all of the game. Great game played by our guys. I would say, and I have no problem saying this, and I even heard it from a couple Massachusetts players, that we outplayed them as a team on Friday night.
Yeah.
We were the better team. They just had some things go their way. So if we break it down a little bit, basically it came down to overtime, and they won the toss, and we then had to do our touchdown and extra point really quick, and we did. It was great. Obviously, us going first gives them the advantage to go for two afterwards. And of course, there are those out there like, why didn't they go for two? And I even had to get schooled because I was like, we should have went for two. But when you're the home team, you don't go for two. Now, obviously, if we had won the toss, we absolutely would have gone for two if they had gone for two or just an extra point to seal the win. So they did what they were supposed to. They won the game by 1 point, and that's all that people see is the final score is that we lost. But I think it was a great game. We did have a couple people though that were questioning some of the rules of our game, and we just kind of I want to go over that just a little bit.
Sure.
Because I even had Mitch kind of questioning what is the rule, and Mitch, as most of you should know, is our number one fan and knows the IFL in and out. So just want to kind of go over some of that. So during overtime, the first thing was we had our extra point that got challenged, and it was challenged by Massachusetts. The final ruling was that there was not video evidence to prove that it actually had gone through the uprights and was a good kick. And when you look at the replay, you can see it starting, but it doesn't go up high enough. So I guess you could get your protractor out and do like
calculate the
trajectory and this is what it would have looked like. And I guess if we had really good camera angles and whatever like the NFL does, we absolutely could have done that. Because there was no video evidence, our rule is he gets his timeout back.
Yep.
And there were a lot of people like, how can he get the timeout? He shouldn't have challenged it, And I get it. If there's not video evidence, how can you really take it away from him? And this isn't the first time in the IFL that this has happened in the last couple of weeks. So unless we add multiple camera angles on the end zone, I don't know how there is ever going to be video evidence.
Right.
I don't know. I get why he challenged it, and he challenged it because it was overtime, and did he think it didn't go through? I have no idea, but that's why he had that timeout left. The other thing was we had a ref that got in the way, and the way that this works with a ref pick is if there's interference by a ref, and this was to get the two.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, you get to replay the down. And in Green Bay, we call that a do-over.
He changed the name.
He changed the name to a do-over just for me, which was awesome. I thought it was fantastic. But obviously, that gives us the opportunity. So the way that it works is when there is that happens, the team that was affected by it, so Green Bay was affected by it, we get the choice, and we chose to replay the down.
Right.
And obviously the goal there is that we can regroup or figure out a different way to approach what they're going to do. Unfortunately, they still got it in and won by 1 point. So for a great crowd who, and I just want to say this to everybody, those of you that come to our games and think that the noise doesn't make a difference, you're goofy, because we forced them to take timeouts when they weren't ready to take timeouts. We absolutely forced a couple of false starts because of the noise. So the noise is really important, and it's integral to our game. And that's why you have so many, like you go to Iowa, all you hear are cowbells.
Yep.
I mean, you think you're in some sort of a rodeo or something. And they do that for a reason, is to get their home crowd riled up and ready to go. The only thing that we have done away with are the air horns, because you can blow somebody's eardrum out if they're not paying attention, and you just...
Yep.
So we don't allow those. There's BAM sticks that we've used.
Yep.
There's a kind of a train horn, and I think that's what the gentleman across from me uses. Yeah. And it's loud. It's really, really loud. But it is also very, very distracting. But anyway... noise is good, and that's why having stands that are packed are very, very important to our game. So let's talk about how packed the stands were, because it was a great game from that perspective.
About 5,300.
Yeah.
So, and it couldn't have gone much further without being behind lasers. So huge turnout from that was driven by the schools. That was not there was one corporate group, and that was Kidzental, because it was their night. That was all schools for Dash for Cash, and incredible turnout. So
and a lot of those kids, because our announcer Mark did say over the PA, how many of you are experiencing this as your first game? And there were a lot of hands that went up and a lot of cheering. So that's great for us as well, because then we know we hook them, because that was an exciting game for them to come back. It was a long game.
Yep.
It was a very long game. But we also had a laser show after.
Yep. It was an awesome laser show.
Shout out to
Sean.
Yeah.
Sean Schuldine from the Illinois area. Really awesome DJ. Laser show wedding extraordinaire. We're probably one of 4 or 5, if I remember correctly, large shows he does. His niche is really doing events and stuff like that, but we are a unique one, and we do a crowd that size for him, so he likes that one. So it was
a little bit longer than last year.
Yep.
A couple more lasers.
Yeah, more lasers. The show was only 2 minutes in music longer. It happened the first time we did it, because of I think in 2018 or 2019 there was a 5 penalty play going into halftime that took 15 minutes to sort out, and the same sort of ensued this game afterwards. So
But we transitioned the field fairly quick, because I just barely made it back upstairs, because I wanted to watch it from up top.
Yeah.
So I left my seat to run up, and by the time I got to the elevator, I heard Vetrano counting it down, and I was like, no! So, but it looked great. It looked really, really good.
Yeah, so huge shout out to WIXX Cousins and Kids Dental Experts for making that thing what it is as it continues to evolve. And it's like one of our trademark games, like the youth jersey now, is the lasers. So
Well, and the Dash for Cash helps. I mean, the kids were really into having their teachers on the field. We had 20 teachers this time, and we had more than $4,000. We had more than $5,000 for them to be diving for.
Yeah, 6,430 something.
37.
I think it was 6,500 last year, and we did away with the shredded up bills that were ripped in half and stuff. So that was the weird total. It's just gone from 6,500 to we had to throw away some damaged funny money. So That was why. And I was like, why did Nick read the actual total? Because I just said, say 6,400, and I know what the actual total is, so it wouldn't have made a difference if we counted it down, but it was pretty funny.
It was just the gimmicky part of it. But
Yep. So that's what happened. Some of the bank training money that we use, because we don't want teachers sitting with $500, and plus we add it to their ticket sales kickback, so it's just one check. But I'm like, what did he just read? Like, I was listening to that unfold, but
I'm like, you should just round it up. Just round it up.
I actually rounded it down, and I knew my count would be $37 or whatever off, but I'm like, oh, he read the actual total. So
all good. It was all good. The teachers really get into it. I was screaming out to Selena because I saw some chunks of money.
Yeah.
And she kind of kept it all right on that center line. And I'm like, no, spread it out, 10 yards, because they have to come running.
Yep.
But I always find it comical to watch them, when they're all just stuffing in their shirts.
We had a sumo suit. We've seen onesies before, but we had a sumo suit this time. So
he was rolling around on the ground.
Yeah.
It was a lot. It was awesome.
It was pretty good.
Do we televise our halftime? Like,
there's video evidence of that thanks to teachers and our staff, and that is not on the YouTube feed though.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've had and in other leagues and other arenas, this has been a bad thing.
Yeah.
But for us, it's a fantastic thing. The teachers enjoy it. They have a lot of fun. On average, I would say the average turn is probably about $200, but we had 3 teams that had over $400. So,
and I think what unfolded, and if I get it wrong, I'm sorry, it's out there somewhere in the media. What unfolded in Sioux Falls, not at a Storm game, but this all originated from a Dash for Cash in Sioux Falls a year or two ago.
Yeah.
They just felt like it was degrading having people climb all over each other for a couple bucks. The difference here is that Dash for Cash dollar is minimal compared to what those teachers have earned on ticket sales. So those of you who think that, well, you're piling 20 teachers in for $200.
For $400?
Incorrect. Some of our schools take home $1,500 to $2,000 based on the fact that they sold tickets to that game too. So it's a whole thing. The Dash is just to add to their total and give them recognition for selling tickets that night. And I think
they have fun.
So they do.
They have fun because, they're down there smiling. Their kids are cheering them on. So it's truly a crowd participation. And as you know from watching our show, we don't do anything just kind of piecemeal together. We're trying to tie the entire experience together. So I think it was a great event.
Yeah, we had schools that didn't do it, but 90% of them are like, yep, got no problem, because again, they get a kickback on their tickets. It's not just, and you see some of those other ones where it's 60, 70 people fighting for $2,000 and you're taking $20 away. Like, we have capped it at 20 was the number this year because I knew what we had in cash, and we had some schools that did incredible in ticket sales. So we'll never get to the point where a teacher's going to walk out with $50. We would run a second dash with a second school night before that would happen.
Right.
So,
Right. So, okay. Well, I think that recaps our game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Should. Let's talk about around the league. So around the league, we had a couple of blowouts. Our friends in Iowa are still struggling, and we know Coach Mogs because he used to coach for us very well, and we're hoping for them to come back. But we saw some big blowouts. Frisco had another great game, keeping them undefeated. Ours
was the closest of
ours was the closest
weekend.
Right. There were others that were close, like within a score. But again, as you should know, with our league, with the Indoor Football League, that last minute, and I said I had a gentleman sitting with me. It was a friend of mine's son, and he got to sit with me during the game. And I said, in our game, the last minute is the most important, provided it wasn't a blowout up until that point.
Yeah.
And I said to him as the game started, I said, this is going to come down to the last possession, and that's exactly what happened. So.
Yeah, Iowa still got beat pretty decently, but it was bad at halftime.
Yeah, it was bad. They were at 0.
But even like you just said, you can score so fast in indoor football that they covered. It must have been like a 20. I didn't go look at the box score, but at one point they had to go on a 20-something run because it was more of a game than it was at halftime.
Right.
So,
Right. Frisco couldn't just sit back and relax. Quad Cities had a great game as well. So, Yeah.
Who was that? Who did Quad Cities play?
I can't remember.
Got it. But I did see the score.
But it was it was one of the highest scoring games that we've had. And it's ironic because
did Quad Cities play Iowa? Sorry, Blizzard Nation.
Oh my gosh,
we'll retract,
but
because Frisco punched Duke City pretty good. That's who Frisco
had.
Yep.
Yeah, so they were playing.
Yep.
Yeah. Because it was Duke City, because I was surprised at the score. Very, very surprised at the score for Duke City.
Yeah.
But why don't you talk about next week while I look this up?
Sure. So we're at another post-game shenanigan game. So Saturday, May 13th, 3:05 matinee game, because we have a post-game concert with Micah Tyler, and it's going to be great. We kind of caught lightning in a bottle with both Colton Dixon and Micah Tyler. So Colton came, released a song, played it for the first time last year at our game. Build a Boat, it was called. Gosh, Bolt and Boat. There we go. That's bad. Sean's laughing behind the camera because he knows I struggle with that one. Build a boat, not a bolt. And then it started tracking on radio crazy after the game. Micah, this game, his single I See Grace, is number one on K-Love and stuff right now leading up to our game. So it was just crazy timing on artists who are tracking correctly on radio.
What I found great was when Mark would play it.
Yeah.
The fans were singing, so they knew the song, which is really cool.
Yeah, he's getting hot on radio at the right time for our game and in general. Good for him. So, and a huge shout out to Patrick Gear from High Gear Promotions, who helps me figure that out, because I'm always like, who's next within our budget? And I understand you could go get one of the mega acts, but you talk to some of those ones that cost crazy money, and they also don't need the game, right? Like, you could end up with this thing upside down where you had more people there for the concert that didn't come for the game when you booked the who's who of Faith and Fellowship acts. So, that's 3:05 game. All tickets include the game and the concert. $2 dogs, $2 sodas. So that'll be the one game we do that this year, because it's a 3:05 family game.
So Bryce, who is one of our water guys for the Blizzard, he got confirmed this weekend.
Yeah.
And on the screen for announcements after.
Yeah.
The Blizzard game.
Really?
I was like, oh, that's really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I won't be able to attend this game. We have Helen Rose is graduating from UW-Madison, so we're going to be out at Camp Randall watching the game, which will be kind of ironic. But so kudos to her. She did a great job graduating with honors and all kinds of great stuff.
Big shout out to a Trinkler there making waves again.
Yeah, so, she's going to do great things.
Yep. Both of them are awesome.
Yeah.
Did you find out who?
I did. They did play Iowa. It was Quad Cities against Iowa and Frisco against Duke City.
Yep.
So those are probably the two biggest point spread games.
We also had
not
some
spread, but
deficits. No, margin of victory. That's it. Margin of victory.
Difference.
We did have a vet question.
Yeah.
The other question, ironically, was Bryce saying, I'm going to roll out of bed, and he commented on the YouTube feed. I think he was referring to the kids' camp afterwards.
I think he was, because it was going to be a long night,
and
then he had to be back there the next morning for the kids' camp.
Yep. The other question was a vet rule, right?
Right, but let's talk about the kids' camp just a little bit.
I would lean on you. I wasn't there. Yep.
Well, so awesome? How many kids did we have there at the kids' camp?
I'm going to call it 86.
Okay.
Closely.
So we had quite a few kids. They were broken into 4 groups. Shout out to our interns and Selena for really overseeing how it was going to play out on Saturday. I was there along with Larry. We also had Build Your Base there and the Wisconsin Beef Council. And Build Your Base, if you haven't seen this throughout the IFL yet, Build Your Base is about nutrition for athletes and getting athletes ready to play the game and making sure that you have protein in your diet in order to build your muscles, build your base, if you will, to be able to play the game. So shout out to them because they brought beef jerky and stuff for the kids, which is really cool. The camp itself, Aurora had 4 stations set up, which were really cool, made it feel like a combine. And then after about 2 hours, the players came out and ran through some drills with them. And they did a good job, too. We didn't have the whole team there, but there were 8 or 9 guys that came. And, of course, the kids love that. Yep. Bruiser made an appearance. So Bruiser showed up right as they were finishing the combine. So you'd see a kid do his dash, and then he'd be like, Bruiser! Bruiser! So
yep,
really cool stuff.
Very good. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Nap, Selena, Coach, for making that thing go. Appreciate it. So
yeah, it was a good day. And Jermichael Finley's camp is coming up
June 10th.
Over a month from now. Yeah.
Paired with the June 9th game. So yeah.
So you were talking about the vet rule.
Yeah, we had a question.
Driven
by Lorenzo Brown's status for Sioux Falls, is where it originated, and
Correct.
It just was what is the vet rule?
Yeah.
Yep.
And had I said that, we weren't doing vets and all that, so just want to clarify what I had said and then give you the insight on what the vet rule is. So what I had said originally was that, and this goes back to, because he said, I thought you said,
right.
For the IFL, because we're developmental, historically, we've had teams that would have so many vets on their team and would even want more. Our rule is 7. There were teams that when they would come into the IFL would want 13, 14. Why? Well, because you want to play with a team that's tried and true.
Yep.
You become a vet after 3 years of play. So that means that on our teams, you can only have 7 that have been around for a long time. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that, well, to me, it means that your coaching ability has to step up, because that means you're dealing with a bunch of rookies on your team. And although you might just have 3 or 4, or in Sioux Falls' case, 2 actual vets on your team, you expect them to be team captains or to train or help the coaches with bringing these rookies up to speed. Mm-hmm. So you were correct. They only have 2 vets. It's not that we don't want any vets on the teams, but we want to limit and give the opportunity to the new guys coming out of college to be able to get that film. I have said in the past that we really only want them in the IFL for 3 to 4 years. That doesn't mean they still can't play. It means that their opportunity to get across the street, as we call it, is coming to a close. So they might go and play in the CIF. They might go play in the NAL. But for us, we're trying to get them into the XFL, the CFL, and the NFL. So the idea is there's a short window of opportunity, because as you guys know, even in the NFL, the amount of play, yes, there's those guys out there that play for 10 years, play for, 15 years, play for 6 years, but the average is only like 2 to 3. There's always new athletes coming up the pike, and you want to be able to give them their shout, as well as they might just be better athletically inclined than what you currently have on your team. So for us, it's about cycling out players as much as we can. And the league itself is about developing the players, so a developmental league, to get them to the next level so they can collect film to go on and play. So I hope I explained that on what I meant when I said we it's not like we want to hold on to a bunch of veterans. Obviously, with vets, you end up with injuries. They're more prone to injuries. They're aging out. So the body, unfortunately, starts to break down when you get to a certain age. I'm speaking from experience. So there's things that I can't do anymore that I could do even in my 40s and 30s that some days I think I can do what I did in my 20s, but I can't. And it's the same thing for football players.
Yep. I think since you mentioned the XFL, if I saw the TV ad correctly, I believe the championship game is this weekend, the same time as our game, but I think it's on Saturday, the XFL championship.
Yeah, so that's coming up, and that actually we did a draft of the XFL players once that was all decided. Yeah. And so each of our teams, we kind of spread out the members of the XFL across all of our teams. And so they're on our rosters waiting for that game to finish to then come and play in our league. So when that happens, there could be swap out of players to get those XFL guys onto the teams to play. And we have until June 1st to be able to exercise those rights. So, yeah.
Awesome. What a very informative episode, Kathy.
Yeah. That's why I got my XFL shirt on today.
Well, it's an IFL shirt, but...
Oh, my God. Yes. I do that all the time.
I'm trying to avoid retractions. Well, correct in the moment.
So I do have a retraction from the last episode. I'm talking... You threw me with the XFL championship. So that's why I have my IFL shirt on.
Got it.
See?
Nailed it. First try.
Right. So can we like undo that? Can we have a do-over?
Yeah, right.
Do-over?
There's no camera angle.
It's not reviewable. Sorry. No, so my retraction, you were trying to help me on the last episode. Do you know where I'm going to go, my retraction? I was saying we were halfway through the season.
Oh.
And then you said we're a third of the way. And after I said the halfway, I'm like, well, it's a 16-week season. We're at week 8. Yeah, that's not how this works. So I just have to retract that we are not halfway yet. We were halfway through our home games.
True.
Kind of. Now we are.
Yes, now we are. Yep.
So that's what I meant.
Yep.
So anyway, I had to retract that.
Got it.
That was my do-over.
Nice.
What else you know?
So after this one, we're 3 back-to-back here. So 13th, we already went over. May 20th is our 20th season celebration game. So there is a 20th season Blizzard Rush Center trucker hat from back in the 90s. Looks really cool.
So it's going to be one of those that's like...
It's cool. It's got some height to it. And it's there's a lot of them. We ordered enough that we should be able to take care of any fan. I'm going to say the first 3,000 with an asterisk that we probably have more than that. But that's what you'll see in print. First 3,000 fans get a trucker cap. And then we have members of the 2003 original roster in attendance that will be honored at halftime. The doors will open actually a half hour early for that game because we're doing a real cool partner appreciation event where for a half hour earlier you'll be able to make the rounds and check out some of our partner tables and see why they support the Blizz and learn what they have potentially for job opportunities. Just a really cool... Mm-hmm. We're going to give you a little checklist or treasure map for everybody's there, and we'll get you a discount at the merch stand or something cool when you check off every partner on your map. So... just some cool stuff going on that game. The Blizzard Bomber mixed drink will be back that game. So
that's that Jameson drink.
Jameson, and we do have some of the white beanies left from Whiteout Hat too. So we're gonna still activate. You get a Jameson beanie if you buy that thing. So
awesome, good.
That's what we got in football land. Yeah, you saw a movie. I have yet to.
Did
I will be seeing it one day after this airs? Would most likely be my guess. So. Unless my life, going? That's when the screening is.
Okay.
At Marcus.
You are going to that, right?
I am going to
okay.
that. Yes, the odds of me getting it to beforehand are not great. So it's probably that will be my first go of Guardians 3. Everybody on the planet, both critics and fans, say it's everything Guardians should be. Is that accurate? Yeah. Okay.
It was amazing. I'm not going to give anything away because so many people haven't seen it. I saw it on Thursday night, so I saw it before the game. I went with Caitlin. She was literally sobbing. Yeah. Like sobbing during it.
Not often do Rotten Tomatoes and fans align, and they have on this.
Oh my gosh. It was
incredible.
Very well done. You know, afterwards, Mr. Gunn came back and said, because the way that, you know, they have those little things at the end that give you the teaser of, oh, maybe.
Yep.
He clarified, not happening.
Well, yeah, he's off to DC land.
Yeah, he's going to be creative. He's like creative director or something for DC.
Yeah, he is trying to correct the DC universe.
Yeah.
So,
and good luck to him. Chris Pratt said he's not going to do it unless James Gunn was in it, or behind it.
It shall be the end.
Yep. So, but they did leave it open for Marvel to do something. Maybe not with that squad together, but there's enough other stuff that could be done.
Yep.
Could be done. So
I'm looking forward to it. So
it's really good.
I know the young man that won the adult category of the costume contest is really excited to come. I think more so to hang out with the players than us, which is cool. That's why we do that. So
will this air before we go to it?
Yeah, Wednesday.
So players that are watching,
as I look at Sean, yes, it will air.
So it'll air right before we go.
Yeah, I mean, wait, isn't Wednesday the normal target?
Yeah,
this is really bad. This thing, yes. You will have watched this, Blizzard
So
Nation.
players, I don't want to see these out in... I might have to bring a basket and have you put all of your phones in the basket. You're there to watch the movie, so please watch the movie and be respectful.
Yep.
So I'm just one of those people, as you know.
Yeah.
Do you really have your phone on? Seriously?
Right.
I'm that person. So can you chew that popcorn any louder? I don't do that, but I...
Got it.
I have kind of given the look. Caitlin actually brought in these big pretzel bites.
Yeah.
She put the first one in her mouth, and I looked at her, and she started laughing, and she said...
She knew exactly what she did. Yeah.
She said, Mom, I put one of these in my mouth in the car and thought, oh, she's not going to like these.
Anytime Nora goes to a movie with him, like, don't do it. Don't dump all those into your hand. Stop reaching into the bag.
Because she likes the gummies.
Yep.
You hear the...
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway. So that'll be cool. We'll get to do that screening right after this show airs, as a matter of fact.
And then we will hit an away game stretch not bye week yet, some away games, and then we are on military night.
Right.
So, yep.
Right. June will be here before we know it.
Yep.
We're already halfway through just about May.
You bet.
All righty. All right.
Anything else?
I think that was a lot.
It was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why we do that. There was a whole bunch of inside the IFL stuff there and a great bunch of rule questions. So
we don't want to take away from Todd's inside the IFL.
Yeah, right.
Even though we do touch on inside the IFL.
Yep.
But please do send us your questions, because if you want us to clarify something on either rules, or if you have a question why we play a certain way or what coach did, I'm not going to get into what he is thinking, because he has his own show that he does with Bolt and kind of breaks down what he's thinking for the upcoming game. But we absolutely would love to answer your questions. For all the people that I know watch this show, I have a question for you. How come you don't have like a subscription to the show? Because I know more of you are watching it than we have subscribers.
That's accurate, yeah.
Yeah. So... I get sad when I see the number of subscribers, because then it makes it look like...
It does not cost anything. It just notifies you when we load a new episode. It just
tells you that it's here. Yep. Right. So I look at that and I go, oh, how sad. We only have 12.
Yeah.
And yet,
thank you, 12.
The magic 12. Our apostles, if you will. But then I know that there's so many more views than that. So anyway, subscribe.
That's what we got.
That's what I got.
Should we hit them with it?
Let's hit them.
Let's hit them with it.
Go Blizz.
Don't forget to like, follow,
subscribe,
share,
and ring that notification bell to get all of our content in your inbox.